What's up, everybody? Think you recognize these three faces? We've got 305 Sports Lou Dominguez. Uh, Alongside him, my brother with Green Legion Radio, Chris Sack. And as usual, here's my fat ass unhappy Gilmore sitting here in my war room watching the Yankees get destroyed, the Phillies just kind of getting underway, and the Marlins off to a nice start. So here we are to go around the diamond tonight on episode 2 of the Heart of the Order podcast. My brothers, how the hell are you doing this evening?
Just living the all-American dream one day at a time, right? I mean, just got back from a 4-day business trip in Puerto Rico. So, just getting back into the daily grind at work and dealing with the kids. Carson's healthy. Jacob's not. My wife is tired. Yeah, so you know how that goes when you go away and you got to listen to them the whole entire time, bitch, moan, and complain about how hard it is and difficult it is and how much you suck. So, yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Glad to be home. Glad to be back home with you guys.
It's a radio station called WBMC. It's Wine, Bitch, Moan, and Complain.
It makes all the sense in the world.
South Florida, Lou. I see you're still on the SS Minnow with the window behind you there.
I gotta come up with a foghorn or something when you cue that up.
A 3-hour tour. A 3-hour
tour. All is good down here in my white submarine. I'm doing great, man. It's all good down here in South Florida.
Well, you got to be happy with the way you guys are. Although Washington just belted 2-run homer here.
Yeah.
Like watching a couple
we
of
still got a 4-2 lead still. So no. Yeah. Listen, thrilled like a pig in shit right now with this start, man. We started off 0-9 last year, so 500 heading into the night. No complaints here, brother.
The Braves took your, the way you guys did things last year. They started out 0-7.
Hey, they can hold the basement warm for us as long as they want, man.
Yeah, that World Series pick's looking really good right now. Was it Chris? You guys are tied at the top with the Mets, right? 8-4.
Yeah, I wish those bastards were in the basement. That's where exactly I want them to be at all times. They got off to a nice start at home, and then they wound up losing to the Fish the other day. They took advantage of running into the Blue Jays on a weekend where the Blue Jays refused to hit. And then those first couple days with the Fish couldn't hit. But I'll tell you what, man, that game that you guys won to salvage, I know it really didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. That play in center field was incredible.
Jeez.
Dude, I mean, he completely ate the wall. I think his head went through the wall and he took a bite out of the apple.
Yes, I think he did as well.
Yeah.
And that's a couple of good plays against the Mets. Griffin Conine also had a game-saving catch in left field against the Mets. We actually, should have split with them. It should have been 3-3. They took 4 out of 6, but we had a 4-1 lead in the 8th, and our new reliever came in and served up a 3-run shot to Pete Alonso. So,
God, I hate him so much.
I know.
Yeah, dude, like if they just,
so we could have put a little bit more pressure on them, but hey, I'll take 6-6, like I said.
Yeah, you take 6-6. Me, on the other hand, we're 7-5. Stroman did not make it out of the first inning tonight. That was a lovely 2/3 of an inning. Haven't seen that bad of baseball since I was in Seattle, where their starter on the Monday night game got rocked. I don't even know if he recorded an out. Maybe one or 2/3 of an inning, and he got shelled for 6. But Stroman never made it out of the first. He didn't even look like he wanted to be out there. The weather's bad in New York, so it's like cold, early April. Crappy weather.
It's got to be raining up there too, right? Is it raining?
It is. Yeah, it's just a shit night in New York, dude. And I mean, look, I remember living back there, and you go, like, I was at the home opener in '96, and it freaking snowed. Early in the year like this, you get it to where you would rather it did snow, to be perfectly honest with you. Because, like, 38 degrees and rain is probably the worst weather on the planet. Right? Like, it's just, Lou, you wouldn't know anything about that down in Florida.
No.
Only during hurricane season.
Right, yeah. It gets to 38 degrees in Miami, and they're calling in the National Guard down there.
Oh yeah.
So, but just it's a horrible night. And Stroman looked disinterested, like he didn't want to be out there. After giving up the 3-run homer, he just looked like he just completely checked out. And so here we are, 5-1, down 5-1, 7-5 overall. The Blue Jays 8-6. There's nothing really spectacular coming out of the American League East so far. I guess the biggest surprise is maybe Baltimore continuing to struggle out of the gates like they finished the season last year.
Yeah.
And then Devers' terrible start, which while we all got a good laugh out of it, I warned all my fellow Yankee fans that most of the time veteran ball players play to the back of their baseball cards.
Oh yeah.
So as bad as he started, expect the fucking hot streak to show its face.
He's a pro. He knew that was going to
He's a
happen.
pro.
Yeah.
He's gonna snap out of it. Yep.
I'll say, look, I know we talked about the Golden Sombrero, and we'll talk about that later. But I was going to throw out the Red Sox organization for kind of look. You acquire Alex Bregman, you know he's going to be your third baseman, but there was talk of him possibly starting off at second base. It wasn't going to happen. We knew that, but to give Devers the news, hey, you're going to be our DH like a week before the season. I don't think that's the right thing to do. He's a vet. He's been there forever.
It was,
and it kind of put him in a tough spot. It's a difference. I mean, you're out there involved in the game to sitting on the bench waiting for your turn to come up. That's a big dramatic difference for a ball player.
But here's the deal, though.
Turn, but you would almost think he's better off. He's not a good third baseman, right?
No,
he's he's a butcher over there. So you'd think it would take some pressure off. But it does kind of, some of these guys you talk to that are used to playing both sides, as bad as they may be with the glove, it kind of takes them out of the rhythm, right? They're used to being in a cadence of the ball game, and now they're not. They're just kind of sitting there cold until it's their at bat.
But they told him when they signed Bregman at the beginning of spring training, this is what the plan was. We want you to DH. So it took them a month for them to finally sell him on it that's what he was going to do. Like, if you just show him the statistics, the defensive runs saved, he is the worst in Major League Baseball over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's not even close. And listen, there's some bad ones out there. I mean, like Alec Bohm was pretty bad up until he had 3 errors in like 2 innings, and the year we went to the World Series, and he said he effing hated this place. Like, there's some. He's become a serviceable third baseman. He's never going to win the Gold Glove. He's never going to be Scott Rowland for all I care. But at the end of the day, like, Devers knew this is what the end game was going to be. Because I guarantee you, if he started the season at third base, it was not going to last long. Because they were going to just be sitting there. Corey's going to call him into his office at like the second week of the season. You suck. This is the data we've got in the first week of the season. Your fat ass is going to the bench, and Bregman's moving over to third. And that's all we're going to say about it. Yeah. But I will say this, though, about the Red Sox. Bregman, dude, you're right. 100%. We saw his career statistics in Boston with the monster at Fenway. I mean, dude, last week he was the National or the American League Player of the Week. Yep. And, Kyle Tucker was the National League Player of the Week. Man, if those guys ever played together, I don't know what made. Oh, wait a minute, they did play together. But, and piss all over that team too. 5-7 with their goddamn trash cans. Yeah. The Angels are better than them.
But by 3 games, which is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
I'm all for it.
It's music.
Now,
to my ears.
That's not going to last with the Angels, right?
Not at all.
They've done this. We've seen this song and dance before. They've come out hot, and then by May, it's a fucking disaster. What I will tell you is, team that started out, won their first game, and everybody felt all good about them. They were 2-1, 2-1, or something like that. 1-2, no, 2-2, and they've now lost 8 straight with a chance to be worse than they were last year. Surprisingly, it's the fucking Chicago White Sox, dude.
That
team. They are absolutely brutal. Their run differential they're 12 games in, they're -12. So, that's an improvement on last year. Because they played 162 games last year, and they were over 300 negative. Yeah. So they're actually trending up.
Yeah. And they're off to a 2-9 start, right? 2-9 they are?
2-10.
2-10.
2-10 they are. Yeah. Just a brutal. But not a good division, the AL Central, right? I mean, I think Detroit's at the top.
Detroit was hot.
Detroit's at the top.
Detroit was winners of what, 5 in a row?
They had won a bunch in a row. They just lost one yesterday. I'm pretty
What
sure.
was up with all those day games in Detroit that you guys had? A 4, a 1, and a 1. I mean, like we were following it when we were in Puerto Rico.
You have any idea how cold it is in Detroit this time?
I get that, but like, God, that many day games in a row in Detroit, like during a week where kids are in school and people work. There was nobody in attendance for 3 games. It's a waste.
Nobody. But I think they're going to be a pain in the ass all year, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how good they really are over there, how deep they can go. But I think they're going to be a pain in the neck for literally everyone they play. They're just pesky like that. And they're managed well. I know the guy was a Hinch with the trash cans and everything. I still think it was more Cora than Hinch, but maybe that's just because I hate Boston that much. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's 3 teams in that division that are going to be vying for that top spot. Cleveland's always there. It doesn't matter.
As long as Jose Ramirez is in the middle of that order, they're going to
correct. Yeah, I mean, and then Stephen Kwan. I mean, they have a lot of really good. And they always seem to put out good pitchers. Whether they're young, they're inexperienced, but they always seem to have them in the pipeline. They're ready to go, whether it's in the bullpen or it's in the starting rotation. And they have the bullets in the chamber to where they can make a deal later on at the trade deadline. And then Kansas City. I mean, they have one of the best players in the game in Bobby Witt Jr. And when you have one of those guys, I know it's you can't really say that in baseball because you can have the best player in baseball for a decade and it really doesn't mean shit like Mike Trout or you have Trout and Ohtani and you still suck. I mean, so a lot of times that really doesn't matter, but it just seems like that guy is the straw that stirs the drink. And as long as he's on base and he's in front of guys like Pasquatch and Salvador Perez, like they have guys that can drive in runs, and he just seems to get on base at a high number and a high clip, especially at home. So, those 3 teams they're going to be tough to beat. It's just a matter of which one is going to be the best one come October, and can they give the AL East? I think the AL East is the creme de la creme, the American League East. Whoever comes out of that is going to be probably the favorite for the World Series. But the Central,
Texas, dude.
Yeah, I mean Texas. It all depends what the ground you're going to get. They can hit. They can definitely rake, no doubt about it. But that starting pitching, got to see. No,
they haven't really hit.
A lot of teams haven't yet either.
A lot of teams haven't.
Yeah. What about Minnesota? You don't give Minnesota a shot in there?
4-9.
That's off to a really rough
start.
That's a tough turnaround, man. Like. I know
like the Braves, right? So the Braves I looked at as, if they get Acuna back, which they're looking at early May with him, he's going to get his knee reevaluated. He's taking batting practice, but he's
Strider back next week.
They're not letting him cut and run yet. Strider back next week has looked great in his rehab starts. What brutal start, right? What are you 3 up and 9 down right now? The Braves,
yeah, 3 and 9.
Yeah, 3 and 9. So there's that saying, right? You can lose a pennant in April, you can't win one, right? So that's pretty much where the Braves are at right now. They're kind of at that point where if they don't get some help coming to start getting more consistent, they're going to end up not being a factor as far as pennant race goes, even this early in the year. 2 out of 3 from your Phils was a good sign for them, but that's it's one fucking series in April, dude. They're still 3 up and 9 down.
Wait until we get to the Golden Sombrero.
Yeah. I love it.
There's nothing like waking up in the morning and finding out that your team lost an extra innings at like 3 a.m. But nonetheless.
Well,
I'm going to save it.
I think that's a good segue. Let's get right into it. Who's got the Golden Sombrero? And, look, we can name that whatever we want to, whether it's Golden Sombrero, Punch and Judy, Flash in the Pan, whatever.
I like the Golden Sombrero. I think that's a perfect analogy for calling out some dumbassery that happens throughout the course of Major League Baseball. I guess because you guys are going to piggyback off the same squad, I'll go first.
Yeah, you go right ahead, brother, because I got a feeling we're going to have a sack attack coming on this one.
The simple fact that you have a Thursday game, which is a getaway game for both teams, mind you, every other team had played in the day. This is the only night game on the Major League Baseball schedule last night on a Thursday night. and both teams had charter planes waiting for them at Atlanta International Airport to take them to their next city because they were going on the road. It's not like the Phillies were going out that night or just the Braves were going out that night, and one of them was staying home or one of them was going home. No. Both of them had destinations after that game. Atlanta was going to Tampa, and the Phillies were going to St. Louis. So let's just go ahead and ignore the forecast where the rain was supposed to be at its heaviest between 8 and 10. Well, guess what? Newsflash, we got stuck in a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay in Atlanta. Did not start that game back up until 11:30 last night, picking up in the top of the 7th in a 1-1 game, only for the game to end in the bottom of the 11th, sometime during the wee hours of Friday fucking morning. Like, I cannot tell you. I want to know who was the idiot that decided to rain delay us in Atlanta for 2 hours and 45 minutes. You do know it's April 10th. We lost officially on April 11th. But we do go back to Atlanta later on this season. Why you wouldn't suspend that game and have us play the rest of it later on the season when we're back in Atlanta, I have no friggin' clue why you don't do it that way. Instead, now you're jeopardizing us tonight as well. Atlanta's down, 5-1. I mean, you really Atlanta's now 3-9. It's a great win for you with Marcell Ozuna, the wife beater and the DUI drinker, sitting there hitting a 3-run walk-off home run in the 11th inning. Now you're in top 7 and you're down 5-1 because you guys got into into the airport late. You flew out late. You got to your beds late. You probably didn't get enough rest, and now you're going to lose a game tonight and fall to 3-10. Good on you, assholes. And then for us with the Phillies, we get into St. Louis late. Probably not get to bed until late. Sitting there doing nothing. Don't even go to the ball field this morning to do some hitting practice or whatnot. No. And here we are. Bottom 2, Aaron Nola, first and second with nobody out. It's like, this is the type of crap that pisses me off. I want to know whose decision was it to stay there. Was that Atlanta's decision or Major League Baseball's? And if somebody can come out and tell us why, what was the reason why, because this could cost us now game 1 of another series, which now, in order to salvage a series, to win a series, you're going to have to win game 2 and game 3. I don't like it. I hate it. It's full of dog shit.
I think they're well said, brother. I think there's a third culprit there, and I think it's the one you need to look at. I think it's the TV deals. I think the network wants the game finished as it's, on its network.
You got enough.
Day, all that
you
shit.
got 6 innings worth of baseball.
I totally agree with you.
Suspend it. And nobody's staying up and watching that shit last night. No. Nobody.
Certainly nobody on the Eastern time zone is staying up to watch that.
There's nobody. Even if it's MLB Network was carrying the game last night. Do you think the people at MLB Network were loving showing reruns of, whatever crap that they do during rain delays? I know what we were watching last night, Matt Strom's card show, and an episode of Phillies Clubhouse, and then a veteran stadium documentary, which was 30 years old. I don't care. I'm not staying up to watch that garbage, and I would have been pissed off if I did, to watch my team lose at 2:00 in the morning, especially by that asshat Ozuna, who I can't stand. And another thing, I don't understand, Rob Thompson, why aren't you bringing in Ryan Kerkering to pitch in the 11th inning with the heart of their order coming up? But no, let's just keep bubble wrap on them and throw Joe Ross out there. It makes complete sense.
Well, listen, what if you're at a sports book in Vegas and you got the over? Just saying.
There's no over. It's 1-1 in the 7th inning. They were hitting the over in that game last night regardless. It was six runs.
What are you at the under? I mean,
I totally agree.
You push the ticket.
That
you
game
push
should
it.
have just been suspended.
You remove it from the ticket and you push whatever it is. I mean, it's just how it goes. But yeah, just complete ass hattery. I don't know. I don't know whose decision it was. It annoys me. I don't expect myself to be happy losing 2 out of 3 to Atlanta and giving them any sign of life, when we could have just put our foot in their neck and just stomped it, especially after we blew a 5-3 lead on Tuesday night with Zach Wheeler on the mound.
That was painful to watch. That's
very painful to watch. It sucked, watching the bullpen just melt like that. But yeah, it's to me, it makes no sense. If it was in LA against the Dodgers, or, where you're not going to be back on the West Coast anytime soon or the rest of the season. I completely get it. I understand it from that. But we got to go back to Atlanta later on in the season.
Yeah.
First day that we're back there in Atlanta, you finish that up at 2:00 in the afternoon, and then you clean off the field once the game is over, and then you start the next game at 7:00. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's really not, and it wouldn't be the first time either. I think that's the thing is there is precedent for that, right? It's
the
not
suspended
like
games is now more precedented than it's ever been. Like,
right. It's not like this is a new thing that would have had to be invented for this one situation. You just go ahead and do it. Division rivals, you're going to play each other a whole bunch of times. Move on.
3-hour rain delay. 3-hour rain delay. I mean, like, what?
Early April? Get the fuck out of here. Look, if it's September, I got
all
braces on. You guys are neck and neck in the division. Even if you're going to be there again, screw that. Finish the game. Let's see what's what. This is what's on the line right now. But April 10th? Come on, dude.
Let's go. I'd like to. Yeah. So, Chris, you'll remember a couple years ago when we faced you guys in the playoffs. This happened to the Marlins.
I do remember it.
And Skip Schumacher went nuts because in this case, the Mets were the ground crew refused to go out there and tarp the field back up. And they ended up, suspending that game at like 12:45 at night, a.m. Luckily it worked out, but there was a possibility there. This is, remember, at the end of the season.
You're going to have to play on Monday. I remember that.
On Monday. So we would have to have gone back, played 2 innings in New York, and then come out to you guys, not too far away, but still, you make a whole team go out there just to, play 2 innings on a Monday before the playoffs start. I'm with you. There's got to be more clarity, and it's got to be unison across the board because, come on. It's not fair to these guys.
And in that situation, you got to win that game. So in those 2 innings, you probably have to use higher leverage relievers, which that day off, that Monday is big time going into a 3-game series where you're probably gonna have to use all three of them. You're gonna have to use those guys in all 3 of those games. There's no rest for the weary.
Well, I know it's not that far, New York down to Philly or whatever, but keep in mind you're not flying. You're getting on a bus and you're on I-95. Chris, you can attest to this.
Probably Amtrak. Probably take an Amtrak down.
You're probably better off than risking getting on that goddamn highway, especially between those 2 cities. It could end up taking an hour and a half, or it could take 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You're better off on the Amtrak. Much better off. So yeah, that could have been absolutely disastrous, dude.
I mean, it turned out to be disastrous. Yeah. They got their asses kicked, but it's I mean, it would have been
golden sombrero.
I wish I would. I wish, like, in a way, in a small way, I wish it would have went 3 because then Lou would have came up and got to come see me. That would have been great.
Yes, that would have been nice.
But you had to cancel those plans.
We did.
I still love you. Hey, Lou, it's not me talking. It's the Puerto Rican rum.
I hear you. I'll forgive you.
All right,
Chris, we got your golden sombrero, Lou. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and take us on with yours here, brother? We're going to piggyback on each other here, so you go.
Yeah, I think we're going to stick it to the Pirates organization here, right? So, and they're both, with respects to Roberto Clemente, the late great Roberto Clemente. They ended up for some reason taking away his commemorative logo in right field, which he patrolled famously not at that PNC Park, but at Three Rivers Stadium for his entire career. Hall of Fame career, one of the greatest players to ever play, one of the greatest arms, if not the greatest arm for an outfielder in baseball history. And for some reason, the Pirates think that the most popular, most memorable player in their history deserves to have his commemorative logo taken out of right field and replaced with a Surfside vodka ad. Not sure who
they are delicious. They are good.
They are. I'll give you that. But are they as good as Roberto Clemente throwing the ball from right to home with no hop, just a straight rope, frozen rope? I'm not sure about that. So I don't know what they were thinking. And shame on them. Again, Roberto Clemente is the Pirates. I know Bonds played there for a while. Doug Drayback was pretty
Well,
good, I guess. Andy Van Slyke, very,
right?
Bobby Bowe, but it's Clemente, and it's not a close second.
Andrew McCutcheon,
Like-
Willie Stargell.
Willie, no, that's where I was going. It was 1979, the We Are Family,
Yes.
Pops, and that gang. But like, yeah, there's
Parker,
a couple of
Dave
moments
Parker?
in Pirates history.
Yeah,
But the biggest
again,
one is easily Roberto Clemente.
It's Roberto Clemente.
It's not even close.
And I don't know.
It's not.
Again, not sure who thought that this was a good idea, but regrettably, they had to, put their head between their butt cheeks, walk it back, and put it back out there.
I wouldn't mind them replacing it with advertising if they intended to spend that advertising money on anybody on their roster. It's like okay, here's a giant can, and we're getting paid $10 million for the a season for this advertisement, and we're going to invest it into our player, our great player. This is awesome. No. Pirates ownership is still going to pull this bullshit, and they're going to turn it around, and Paul Skeens is going to be a Red Sox or a Yankee or a Cub
or a Philly
or a Ranger or a Philly or
a Dodger.
It's just, how the story ends. And I know Adam's got more. I know Adam's got way more. To take out on these assholes. It annoys the ever-loving crap out of me with this organization, how horribly ran they are. They have one of the most beautiful stadiums in the sport, one of the most beautiful venues in all of sports. How lucky they are to have that, and to see this ballpark nearly empty, game after game, week after week, month after month, season after season, without somebody investing money into this. Like Quimby says this all the time about NFL owners, and I completely agree with him. They should be held to a standard as ownership, and if they are not held up to that standard, then they need to put the team up for sale for somebody that will invest and will take advantage of having a professional sports franchise. And this family that has owned the Pirates for years has driven that organization into the ground of what was once a great and proud Major League Baseball franchise, has become one of the biggest laughing stocks over the last 30 years of Major League Baseball. They've had windows, they've had players, they've had moments, but the fact that this team cannot compete for the playoffs year after year because they refuse to spend money on their top-notch players, like the fact that Garrett Cole ever played anywhere else. The fact that Paul Skeens is going to play someplace else. Andrew McCutcheon moved on at some point along the line. There's too many great players to name that's been on that team that have not seen their careers transpire over the course of the long haul. It's a disgrace with what's happened to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's disgusting, and it's not just the current owner, right? It's the last owner too. It's the last two of them, I'm pretty sure, right? It's
whoever's been there the last 30 plus years.
I think Nutting is the current owner. And then before him, I'd have to look it up.
Was Bonds was always going to go to the Giants, right? I mean, that was always something that Bonds wanted to do, right? His dad played there.
His godfather.
Right. So I kind of get Bonds leaving Pittsburgh and going there. I understand it to some extent. That was it's like Griffey to an extent, right? I mean, like him going to the Reds, going back home to Cincinnati. It's kind of like that, but just to let a player walk out the door for the sake of letting them walk out the door or trading them, it's just. I think Brian Reynolds is the only one that's had like a head on enough straight, and he wanted to get the hell out of there a few years ago. He just took the money.
They all want out, dude. They just they don't offer any real thing. There's no incentive, I guess. Forget about just the contract. Where's the incentive? Even if you are the stud, Paul Skeens, right? Hey, we want to keep you. We're gonna throw the blank check at you. Well, I've got a blank check from the Yankees or the Phillies or the Dodgers or whatever too. And when I go there, they're also throwing checks at this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So I'm surrounded by talent with a chance to win. I can get paid anywhere. I'm not going to win in Pittsburgh because you're going to pay me.
There's one blank check. That's it.
You're going to use me as the excuse as to why you're not paying anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that guy. You can go ahead and just keep paying nobody. I'm not going to be the reason. I'm not going to let you use me as the excuse. I think that's part of it. These guys don't want to deal with shitty ownership. Quimby's absolutely right, and it's a discussion I have with people at work. Quimby and I have talked about it. I know you've talked about it with him too. I tell people who, when you don't get Bengal fans, Browns fans, shit like that, and I'm like,
Dolphin fans.
Dolphin fans.
He hates Stephen Ross.
Show me a franchise that has been mired in mediocrity or worse for an extended period of time, and I will show you a shitty ownership. Period. End of story. I don't care what sport it is. If you've been mired in the middle of the pack or below it that's your standard, you have a shitty owner. Look at the Bengals right now. Not to turn the page to football a little bit here, but the Bengals right now are asking the state of Ohio for $350 million to renovate their shithole stadium. The stadium's not that old, and it's a dump, and they want the state to pay for the renovations. The people around here are like, yeah, fuck you. You don't deliver. Leave.
Yeah, where did they say the Bengals are going to move to? what was the rumors?
Some woman out here was talking about, let's just pick up and go somewhere else. Look, it would be bad for the economy in this area. It's kind of what people need to look at. But if I was a taxpayer in that county, and I'm in the county north of that, the taxpayers in Hamilton County, Ohio, paid for that stadium. And I'd be furious. It's a dump. The team stinks. I would flip out. But that kind of goes, it's the same thing. It's bad ownership. Year over year, this is what you find. Pittsburgh's right in line with it.
It's crazy because the Reds, I haven't been to the Bengals stadium. Paul, I don't know what it's called. Is it called, what's it called now?
Oh, no, it's called Paycor Field now.
Okay, there you go, Paycor. I haven't been there, but, right across the street, essentially, is a Great American Ballpark, and that's a hell of a ballpark. We enjoyed it together, and it's a great ballpark. So, it's literally right across the street, and night and day difference.
Alcoholic slushies and Skyline chili.
Skyline chili. Fuck. This freaking like cinnamon flavored diaper shit. Oh God. So staying with Pittsburgh. I'm sure you guys I know you guys have read all of this, but they had the Bucco bricks, right? So back in 2001, and this actually does tie to Clemente a bit because the fans who bought and inscribed them, it was for the Roberto Clemente Foundation. It sold 10,000 fans did this. And recently, they've been renovating around the outside, and the bricks vanished. And somebody saw them at a landfill and immediately started, there was uproars at a recycling center in Reserve Township, wherever the hell that is. It's going to be right in and around Pittsburgh. And the fans are pissed off. They thought they should have had the opportunity to, if you were going to get rid of them, let me have my brick, right? Let me have it. Pittsburgh's, the Pirates' answer to this is, well, we didn't record buyer information, just the inscriptions. And the fans who purchased them were given the opportunity to buy also a replica at the time of purchasing the actual brick. And it's gotten so bad now that they've had to come out and tell the fans where the new setup is going to be. So it's going hand in hand with the taking down Clemente stuff here. They're just a series of bad decisions that all you're doing is hurting a fan base that you have pretty much lost to begin with. Nobody's at this ballpark. Chris, you said it. One of the most beautiful venues in all of sports, and nobody goes. Nobody. You got to have the Phillies there, the Yankees there, the Dodgers there. Some big market, huge name teams got to be there on a weekend series.
The Cubs when the Cubs are good.
20,000. The Cubs when the Cubs are good.
Yeah.
To get more than 15 to 20,000 people in that stadium, that's what it takes, and it is an absolute travesty. Shame on that ownership group.
I can't for the life of me. I know I think at points in time, I think we've all dealt with the negativities of our ownerships for our teams, right? I mean, Lou with the Marlins, I can't really speak on it with the Heat. I think the Heat have largely been successful over the last 30 years. Like the Panthers had a spell there for probably about a decade where they really didn't do much. If I'm looking at it with Adam, with you, I mean, obviously, over the last 30 years, we've had one of the best owners in professional football with the Eagles. You've always had a Steinbrenner, but I think a lot of people have been down about how this Steinbrenner and the previous Steinbrenner since George died, how they've kind of penny pinched to a certain extent, how they haven't
Hank
really
would have been better. Hank was more like his father. Hal is the accountant more. He's the bean counter.
Right.
But even George, even the boss, with the whole Winfield thing in the early '90s, when he got ousted from the best thing that ever happened to the Yankees organization was the boss getting bounced for a little while.
Right.
It humbled him just a little bit, and it allowed Stick and Buck Showalter to rebuild that the farm system.
Yeah.
And that's where the core came from. Jeter, Pettit, Posada, Mo, all of that came from there. But so, like, as great as it was having the boss when the dynasty came around, we went through years where he was like public enemy number one.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Phillies ownership group. I mean, like, when it was Giles that was running it, and we wound up like they weren't spending money on players, and we're talking about the Paul Skeens, right? And he's the guy with here's the blank check. Well, they tried doing that. They paid Schilling, and Schilling then a year later was like, I want out because you guys aren't spending money. But guess what? Schilling was lucky that he was a great player and that he was on the '93 Phillies, which is a beloved team. So nobody really gave a shit when he was telling the truth. But when Scott Rowland when they were trying to pay him, and he said, "Hey, listen, show me that you're going to spend the money, and then I'll sign here." They just went ahead and they traded him away for Mike Timlin and Bud Smith and Placido Polanco. And in the middle of the summer in 2002. Now, I sit here as a Phillies fan. Still to this day, it upsets me that I didn't get to see an infield of Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, and Scott Rowland. That would have been pretty friggin' sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even a little bit of that would have been with Big Jim Thome over there at first base before Howard took over the.
Nothing wrong with that either, bud.
No. Not at all. But then again, if they spent that money that summer on Scott Rowland, they probably don't spend that money that offseason to lure in a Jim Thome, right? I mean, like, pretty much the money that they were going to give Rowland is what they gave Thome to bring Thome in. So Rowland was right, but everybody vilified him for years. Like, these guys, I know, like, we don't want to hear it. Like, we don't want to, like, as fans, like, it's okay for your player to sit there and take a shot at your ownership group, especially when they're in the right. And to vilify him for over 20 years, we finally put him on our team's Wall of Fame last year, rightfully so. I mean, the guy tore his back up in on that Vet Stadium turf for all those years. He didn't get to experience as a home player the perks and benefits of playing at CBP. Which, by the way, the one negative thing about Rowland was when he went to St. Louis, he said that it was baseball heaven. I've noticed the attendance the last couple of years when St. Louis has sucked. How's that attendance looking tonight out there on a Friday night with the Phillies in town, Adam? Because obviously I'm on here with you guys, but I've seen some of the attendance numbers and I've seen some of the photos that Cardinals fans are posting on Twitter or X, and I love every second of seeing it. It's beautiful. Because if that's baseball heaven, then it's more like baseball hell. It's like there's no way you go to those games.
I gotta be honest. I don't think for a team that's not in your division, right? It's usually where your most hated teams are at, right? Like, I hate the Red Sox. You guys hate the Mets. All that. Well, Lou doesn't hate the Mets quite as much. You hate the Mets. You both hate the Braves.
Great,
right?
absolutely.
I don't think I've ever seen someone hate a team outside of his own division as much as you hate the St. Louis Cardinals, dude.
I can't stand
it. And you just become incensed at the mere sight of that fucking Redbird. And I am here for it, dude. It's glorious.
I can't stand it. I mean, like, seriously, it's like the ultimate crux of bullshit. That I like every single time, like how great they've been for like the longest stretch, and everyone's, oh god, whatever they touch turns to gold. Their farm system, they can.
They did have a stretch there where that was true.
Yeah, but now it's a stretch of ass, and I'm here for it all day long. I want it to be the largest skid mark on a white pair of underwear that's ever existed. Like,
I'll have them come have some Skyline chili, and I'm sure that'll happen.
I can't stand it. How much people have sat there and just tooted that organization's horn and now everybody is sitting there living through a world of suck, that they haven't experienced in a long, long time. So,
I'm
really,
trying to get a good view of the crowd, and all I'm really getting is kind of the lower level, and it looks like there's a lot of people. I'm waiting for the shot, of the ballpark from overhead to really get a view, but all I'm seeing is kind of just right behind the plate and up the lines behind the dugouts.
it's one of my great sports satisfactions, going there and retiring Molina and Pujols.
That's right. You did do that.
That's
Good job.
That right there, vindication. After 11 years of no postseason baseball, it felt so fucking good.
that was a sight to behold, to watch you just become incensed. Just the sight of the ballpark, the other humans having the absolute gall to wear such jerseys. I mean, it was just like every step of the way, you're like, look at this asshole.
I was so drunk and so obnoxious.
As well you should be. I'm a fan.
No doubt about
I'm
it.
trying to find the attendance here. I don't think I can find it.
They're not going to announce a number until later on in the game.
It's too early.
Like the 7th or 8th inning is when they announce it.
And they'll pump that number up too. Come on, they'll pump it up a little bit.
Yeah, chicken sold.
There's a better shot. No, there's a good crowd there tonight, which is a little surprising. I don't know what the weather is out there. I know it sucks here now, and they're about 5 hours west of me.
It's been raining all day here today.
Yeah, well, you're usually somewhat similar to New York, and it looks horrible in the Bronx right now. So I can't believe that game's still going on. It's like I guess it's not raining hard. It's just that annoying kind of light, not drizzle, just that light rain that's just kind of like, it's just miserable. Yeah, one of those nights when you're like, man, I really like staying the whole game. I'm out. This would have been one of the ones, if I had my season tickets now, is at that kind of weather. Stroman gets chased after 2/3 of the first inning. We're down 5-0. You know what? I'm going home, guys. Enough.
I tell you, I mentioned this a little bit last show. I'm in the minority here because we got a dome stadium now, so rain is never an issue for us. And I miss the days. I'm telling you, I would like to see rain, and I would love being at the ballpark for 2 hours, seeing players warm up, whatever. Tarps out there. They're not going to get the game in. You get this little card that says, "Hey, rain check. Got to come back." And I loved it. I loved the doubleheader aspect.
That's warm.
That's warm weather.
It's warm
rain, dude. Yeah, come up to Philly good. See how much you like rain in New York or Philly in early April.
I didn't say all that. Now. I just said I like the element of doubleheaders. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, doubleheaders are fun. I agree with you, but Adam's completely right, man. Sitting out in that shit, it's so beyond miserable. Like, because now it's not just like, dude, you're layered. Like in the summertime, like I don't mind a nice warm rain, but it's like you're wearing a shirt, a t-shirt, shorts, like maybe slides if you want to wear slides, but like, dude, when you're sitting out there and it's your jeans and like you're wearing like a long sleeve t-shirt under a hoodie and there's a jersey on top of it and you're trying to keep your fresh new era hat,
right.
Like dry, it's just, dude, there's nothing worse. It's you get back into your car
and it's warm and it's all steamy and just
the rain's watering down. Rain's watering down your beer even more. That's not fun.
Dude.
No, nobody likes a watered down beer. No, that's why you don't drink Coors Light.
What a freak! Yeah, that's just brutal nights when it's like that, dude. Whether it's April or October. The only difference is if it's October, at least it's the playoffs, man. And you just have to.
You'll deal with it in October. April, it's just like, I'm putting my tickets up for sale.
Right. Like, I'm not going.
Just put them up for like $20 online and get some of your money back.
So Keenan says, Lou and I sat in the rain on Miami Beach one day in the spring several years ago. I'd never do that up here. Exactly.
Was it just Keenan and Lou sitting on that beach together?
Was it a moonlit night?
No, he said he sat on it. We weren't We didn't actually end up hanging out that time that he came down. He didn't give me proper notice. Damn you, Keenan.
Keenan and Kel.
Oh boy. Where you guys at with the National League overall, dude? Because I got some stuff on the American League, but I kind of steer clear. I know the Braves obviously struggling. That National League West, the fact that the Diamondbacks are like the fourth best team in the division is really scary when you add the fact that the Giants are off to such a freaking hot start.
Giants,
obviously, the Dodgers 10-4. I'm sure their fans are upset that they already have 4 losses. Fuck them. I love seeing the Padres up at the top of the division. Let them piss off the Dodgers all year long.
My World Series pick.
Yeah. Yep. NL Central is much ado about nothing, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The Brewers stink. Look at what the Yankees did to them the first couple of games of the season. I don't want to hear about torpedo bats. It's the stupidest freaking thing on the planet, right? It had nothing to do with it. You know what it was? The Brewers can't fucking pitch. That's what happened, right? It's the exact opposite of Moneyball. Moneyball worked because they had Hudson, Mulder, and Zito.
Well, they've also been able to pitch their last 10 games. They're 7-3 in their last 10. I mean,
now they reversal of fortune.
They came out slow and they got their asses handed to them in the first 3 games. And then you look at
Aaron Judge is off to a hot start. So
and then you look at the Yankees in that standpoint. They're 4-5 in their last 9 since that. And then they lose tonight. It's 4-6. So
we're going to lose tonight. Like this team, lay down and play dead here in a minute. But Yankees 8.5 runs a game in the wins, 2.8 in the losses, 5-1 versus the National League Central, 2-4 versus Arizona and Detroit. That's the Yankees so far. So we're bully ball. We're beating up schleps, right? Smack around the Brewers, smack around, and now you're going to play the Giants. These pitching matchups are shit. We got Will Warren against Hicks tomorrow. Rodon against Webb on Sunday.
You're playing like football. You beat up on the bad teams, and then play 500 against the good teams. So, Lou, if you want to go National League first, man, you can go into what you've noticed for a couple weeks of the season first.
National League,
yeah.
Yeah, no. The Giants surprised in that West. I'm surprised that in the Central, the Reds. We had all talked about on the opening show there that the Reds with Tito, managing now would have them, out of the gate a little better, a little bit more prepared. So the Reds being dead last maybe is a surprise there. And yeah, as far as a surprise in the good way, besides the Giants, I'm going to put my Marlins up there. I mean, I couldn't think that they'd be 500. They had a game rained out against the Braves, which they ended up splitting that series because of that. Sandy was supposed to start that game. He actually went on paternity leave. He's a brand new dad. Ashley is not the mother. Happy to report.
Well, no, it's not going to be you anytime soon.
No, yeah. Look, the Fish are off to a heck of a start here, and I'm all for it. I don't expect it to last very long. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So yeah, that's the National League report on my end.
Yeah, I mean San Francisco. I'm not entirely too surprised by San Francisco. Bob Melvin is a winner. To me, it's Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin wins everywhere he goes, and he turns it around. That first year might be a little bit rough. But, he won in Oakland. He won in San Diego. I'm not saying he's winning World Series, but they find
better teams, right?
Exactly. They find ways to win. That's a tough division. I don't think any of them have faced each other yet. So that's another thing to look out for, like San Diego, San Francisco, and LA. I don't think any of the three have played each other yet. So they're going to get to that, and then those records are gonna change. It's 10-3, 9-3, and 10-4 are gonna change, and that's where Arizona gets themselves back in by facing those teams. I'll tell you the one that I like is I like the Cubs. I like the Cubs at the top of that Central. I mean, baseball to me is better when the Cubs are good, and it's one of those things that means Wrigley's gonna be popping. Maybe it hasn't early on in the season, but if anybody's been to Chicago in April, it sucks. I don't care. Like going down to Wrigleyville is not fun when it's cold. It's more like, and I think really with some of the comments that Rick gets made during the offseason about, hey, we spend a lot of money, but we spend what we can. I think there's a lot of people that were turned off by that. If this team is in first place after the year that they had last year and some of the comments that Rick gets made, they're in first place still towards like Memorial Day. It's going to be a good summer in Wrigleyville down there at Wrigley Field for the Cubs and their fans. So I like the fact that they're at the top there, and then you kind of see what falls in underneath of that. And then, the National League East, you got the Phillies and the Mets at the top, which is not really much a surprise. I'm enjoying that one team that is just residing in the basement. I'm hoping that there's another 3 outs that are coming for Tampa here, and they can get that first win of the series, and then we can move it on. But the National League is kind of going the way outside of a couple teams. If you look at
Brewers
the Braves,
with the slower start was a little bit of a surprise.
I'm not surprised. To me,
playing better ball. Now I looked at the Central as weak.
Yeah,
they're going to lose, and the rebound is happening already. They're bouncing back from that early season.
I'm not even that sold on the Brewers though. Like losing your closer. I know they have somebody else. Yeah, it's so unlikable in so many ways.
Well, their closer, Devin Williams, dude. Have you watched him pitch?
Well, I heard he's turning into Clay Holmes.
Well, first of all, would you prefer your closer to have a 93-mile-an-hour fastball or a 98-mile-an-hour fastball?
My closer has a 101, 102.
There you go. So Devin Williams tops out at 93. This is his fastball, and when it starts getting hit, he stops throwing it. So this is Aroldis Chapman, 10 miles an hour slower. It's the same thing. And then when he throws a screwball, great. When there's no second pitch, it doesn't matter. And he's gotten absolutely shellacked. I'd move Luke Weaver back to the closer spot. I thought he should have had it to start with, but it's my opinion on that. I don't like the guy.
Why don't you talk about the rest of the American League?
Well, can I really quick, so
Sure.
going back to the National League, you mentioned, the Cubs, and no doubt, I mean, Craig Counsell, tremendous manager, one in Milwaukee with not all the talent there. So, he's obviously been there, done that. So that's great for them. I also want to talk about the Colorado Rockies. Nothing's expected out of them, right? But what do you guys feel about them bringing up, 2 of their top prospects and foregoing, extra year of club control? They brought up Chase Dollinger, their top pitching prospect, and Zach Veen, one of their top hitting prospects, a week into the season, in a division that they have no chance in. They cannot compete with those top 3 teams or even the Diamondbacks, for the 4th spot. What do you make of that? I mean, there's some kind of credit, I guess, to be said for that. Bringing up, guys that, again, they could control for an extra year, and they bring them up this fast. What's your take on that?
Asses in seats. I think they need something to bring a little life into the ballpark, because I don't think there is any. You know what I mean? There used to be that guy that you had your Todd Helton, you had your Larry Walkers, you had these guys that were hitting these moon shots, mile high up.
Vinny Castilla, Manu
Castilla.
Andres Galarraga, the big cat.
Big cat.
Big cat. You had that, and they don't have. I mean, who's Charlie Blackmon? I mean, this isn't exciting anyone, right? Like, they need a spark, something to get the fans energized a little bit. Even if they continue to go out and get shellacked, hey, look, we're trying to showcase our youth here and give you something to root for. I got to think that's playing somewhat a role in it. Otherwise, what other reason is there? Except for maybe to showcase it and trade it.
Yeah, but showcase it. I mean, you're not going to trade it until later. Much later, like 4, 5, 6 years from now. Right. I'm tired of the team control bullshit anymore. I think it sucks. Like, you're sitting there, you're holding these players down in the AAA when they're already, in some cases they're already big league ready. I think it's exciting for the fan base. I think it's exciting for them, but I also think for the guys that are in that clubhouse, let these guys come in there and establish themselves now. So that way, when you start to bring up the other kids that have grown up through the system with them in AA and AAA, you're ready to take that next step, because now these guys are a year ahead of those guys and they're ready to take the next step because they've been there and they've done that. Like, that's the way you're going to compete in that division now. If you're the Rockies have shown in the past that they will spend money if they are in something. Like,
Yes.
those years like 07 and 09 and like, Tulowitzki and Helton and Charlie Blackman. Like, they'll spend money, but there has to be a reason to spend it. And they've been stupid about spending it lately, as you can see with the Chris Bryant contract. It's been terrible. It's been almost as bad as Anthony Rendon.
I hate to say I told you so. Not to either of you guys, but I don't know how anybody couldn't see that coming.
No,
the guy had nothing left to motivate him. Nothing. He'd achieved everything he wanted that you could achieve at that point.
Yeah,
he was the College World Series Rookie of the Year, National League MVP, World Series winner with the freaking Cubs.
With the Cubs,
right? He got his contract. He's like, I'm good. I'm gonna sit out here in Denver, get high as fucking shit.
That's a Boris client. I mean, Boris told him, he's like, listen, he's like, take the money. This is the best deal, and I'll get you traded in a few years. And that's exactly what they're going to wind up doing. Now, the Rockies are going to have to bite a lot of the money on that deal in order to unload that contract, because no one's going to take the full contract. No. But I find it to be impressive by what the Rockies are doing with that. That's awesome. I saw the pitching prospect coming up. I didn't see the hitting one coming up. That's good.
Yeah, Zach Veen, look him up. I mean, he was tearing up the minor leagues, getting on base. I think he had like 7 steals in the first week, 4 homers. So
and don't do the shit that like Washington's doing. I know Dylan Cruz is struggling right now, but like, dude, that guy was the 2nd overall pick of the draft 2 years ago. I'm sorry, he should not be batting 8th. Move him up in the lineup, and immediately with the guy that you're talking about with Colorado, plug him in the 2 or the 3 hole in that lineup and just let him run, sink or swim right away. Like that.
This is what the Red Sox did some years ago, right? They brought up Mookie Betts, they brought up Xander Bogaerts, they brought up Devers. And they basically just threw him on the field and said, "Learn." That's what happened, right? And it worked. Now, granted, they still had, when they did it with Betts, they still had Ortiz there and stuff. That obviously helps, but they just threw those guys on the field and said, "It's yours. Go figure it out." Yeah. They did exactly what you're talking about. These guys weren't batting at the bottom of the order.
Too. Benintendi.
Yeah, Benintendi was another one.
And Jackson Jr. in center field, Bradley Jackson.
Go learn.
Or Jackson Bradley. Jackson Bradley.
So you get a team like Washington or Colorado. What are you batting these kids 8th in favor of? Right? Who is this stud that you can't move out of a spot in the order to give this
Josh Bell?
Confidence?
Josh Bell, who you're going to trade away for the 4th consecutive trade deadline? I mean, come on.
He's like 12 teams in the last 3 years. Crazy.
And he still
feels like a Kardashian in an All-Star weekend.
And he still kills the Phillies. He still kills the Phillies, man. He faced Aaron Nola on the 3rd day of the season on that Sunday, and he came up with 2 runners on. I'm like, he's going to go deep. First pitch, deep. I'm like, this son of a bitch. He kills his – and he always hits Wheeler and Nola. Always those 2. What do you got in the American League for us there, Adam?
Flipping over to the American League, like I said, I don't think there's anything special coming out of it. There's no, I guess the biggest story in the American League East right now is the contract that Vladdy Jr. got. Right? I text you guys. I'm like, it felt like he's only 26 years old. It feels like he's been in the league for a decade. Right. You know what I mean? Am I the only one that feels that way? I feel like he's been around forever. Maybe it's just because of the name, but I just feel like Vladdy Jr. has been there for a very long time. I don't know if he's a $500 million guy, but 14 years. Again, it's another one of these big contracts where the guys are just trying to get to their age 40 season. That seems to be the goal, right? Trey Taylor did it. Judge did it. Ohtani did it. They're all trying to get to that age 40 season. Harper, another one. That's the biggest story in the American League East right now. There's nothing else going on. I mean, Yankees and Blue Jays kind of.
They're losing 7-0.
I've only got 3 TVs for Christ's sake. Right? What do you want me to do? I've got all 3 of our teams on purpose. Yankees are down 7-1 now, so things are going well.
The Marlins just gave up. They had the lead. They were winning 4-2. They just gave
it's
the bases
5-4 now.
Triple there. So they're down 5-4 right now.
And we're getting shut out. Woo!
Oh,
Yankees wild pitch, run scores 7-1. It's just a disaster.
Bad night for us.
Did they put Stroman back in the game? It's kind of
I
like in
think my old
hockey where
neighbor's on the mound.
it's kind of like hockey where the starting goalie gives up 3 goals in the first period, so then they pull him, and then the backup gives up 4 in the second period, and they're like, put the starter back
Put it
out
back
there.
in. Yeah,
I
no,
tell
I
you,
think it's actually Stroman's Uber driver they got out on the mound right now. Oh, look, a double into the corner. It's going to be 9-1.
Oh, is that the catcher, the Uber driver?
that's right.
Baseball
the,
tonight, fellas.
so the backup catcher, the backup catcher is Stroman's Uber driver, because that's what he was doing before he.
Yeah, crazy.
it's just a sad state of affairs, dude.
I tell
But
you,
yeah,
you
nothing
mentioned
special. The most fun I've had out of the American League this year, was the first couple of games, obviously, and then Devers with his fantastic start. That was great.
yeah,
The Orioles still being at the bottom is still a little bit surprising, but I guess we shouldn't be that shocked by how they ended last year. Central, we talked about before, where Detroit's going to be a pesky pain in the ass all year long. Kansas City's going to make noise as long as Bobby Witt is in that order. And Cleveland always finds a way to be competitive, at least during the regular season. The West,
Clase has been showing some. He's been showing that he's got some chinks in the armor, man.
yeah.
yeah. Well, that happened in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got smacked around. I think Stanton basically just you couldn't pitch to him, during that week. But he was showing some signs of maybe I'm not all I'm cracked up to be. It's different when you're playing that many games against that division, right? I mean, how many times are you playing the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins? The White Sox are fucking terrible, dude.
I think it's 12 now.
It's
12 times.
Yeah. Is it just 12? Yeah, because they have the extra interleague.
Yeah, there's two. Because now you play everybody.
Right.
So you only get 2 home series against each division
And 2 away.
and then 2 away. Yep.
Yep.
Which I don't
So
like.
I think
I like the more stuff. But
one of the bigger disappointments, and I guess it's a continued disappointment for me in the American League, is Seattle.
Yeah.
They just, I tell you, that team cannot hit its way out of a wet paper bag. And I watched it 3 straight games in their ballpark. They cannot hit, man. And then when they do get runners on, they're horrible with runners on base. The first night we were there, they loaded the bases in the first inning with nobody out and got nothing out of it. That night, I did watch Julio Rodriguez run them out of an inning twice, but he also stole 2 bases. And then the next day, hit a 438-foot homer. So the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
I know we hate Pete Alonso. I just can't believe they didn't make that move. I don't understand why they didn't pay him. You need something. I mean, like as much as he annoys the shit out of us, the guy has 30 to 40 home runs every year. I mean, like
you can mail it in.
That's all it is, and you put him right in the middle of your lineup. You put him in 4, and then at that point, if you want to do J-Rod, like maybe you could do J-Rod in the 2, and then
J-Rod is batting second. They have J-Rod batting second.
And Cal Raleigh is batting 3rd. I mean,
yeah, in front of J-Rod is Robles, although now he got hurt. So
Robles, an unbelievable play, probably the catch of the year.
Yeah,
no
good
doubt.
Lord.
That one by De La Cruz the other day in foul territory. Did you see that shit?
Yes.
Ellie De La Cruz, that sliding catch. Oh,
yep.
Oh,
but Adam, to your point,
hitting the wall in City Field the other day.
Yeah, Warren's right. Yeah. But to your point, Adam, Seattle, great arms, right? But not enough hitting. And, it should have told us, how their hitting was set up and their lineup was set up when Victor Robles was their leadoff hitter, since hurt. But, Victor Robles toiled in the bottom half of the Nationals lineup for years. Speedster, right? But he just can't hit, and
I tell you what, man, the 3 games we were there, he was actually pretty solid at the top of that order. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, granted, 2 of those games were against the A's.
Right.
So we're not going to get too ahead of ourselves here, but I agree with you, man. Again, like you said, the bottom of that Nationals order, fast, and that's probably why he's in the leadoff spot, thinking if he can get on, I've got J-Rod batting behind him, get the kid an opportunity, some RBI opportunities. But yeah, man, it's very disappointing because you want to see you want the best players in the league to be showcased on the game's biggest stage. Right, and just Seattle just doesn't have the look of a team that's going to make it there. which means we're going to get robbed of Rodriguez being on that stage again. And I think it's a problem.
They have great pitching. I don't know why they just don't tap into their like. To me, it just feels right. I mean, like I know you were talking about with the Orioles. I think if they continue down this path, I think Hyde is going to get fired because the
Which
general
I think
manager.
is bullshit.
Well, I agree with you. I'm not saying that it should happen, but he has been there longer than the last couple of years where they've had success. It's not like he came in and he was there. Like they sucked for a little while with him, and then they made the playoffs the last 2 years with him. So, but remember, eventually the general manager is the one that feels the hot seat first. And when they do, what's the bull in the chamber? The manager.
Oh, yeah, you fire the manager, of course.
So that I would not be surprised if that isn't a move that's made by the first week of June. If they continue to wallow away how they've been since, post All-Star break last year. But with a team that has that much youth in their hitting and a team that has that much youth in their pitching, that's a match made in heaven for a trade.
Yeah.
The Orioles
just
have
makes
also
sense.
let's flip-flop some players to help each other out here.
And Aaron Nola now melting down in the sixth. Great job. Awesome.
First and third, nobody out.
And then they're down
1-0. Yeah. It's a pretty rough night for all three of us here, although I think I've got it worse than both of you.
We're the Mets tonight.
The
Mets are playing Oakland or Sacramento or whatever the hell they are.
Keep with the Orioles, though, for a second. I'm glad you brought them up, talking about the manager getting canned. And I get that's the general manager's first, it's the go-to, right? Out you go, right? I'm going to protect my ass. You're out. But, when the team was sold and the new ownership group came in, there was a lot of excitement that these people were going to spend money. They were going to do all these things. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? There were moves to be made. The fact that they didn't go get someone, last year was a little bit of a surprise. The hitting, as good as they are, went into the can second half of last season. They did nothing to correct it. Nothing. So I get that the manager's going to take the fall, and it's always what happens. And the owner is obviously the one position you can't fire. But when is some of those fingers going to start getting pointed at, dude, you were supposed to come in and change things from Angelos, and you're really not doing it. Like, you're not spending the money.
Plus, they should have brought back Corbin Burns. When you trade away a generational talent like Jackson Chourio, and you don't re-sign the guy that you traded Jackson Chourio for, especially when your starting pitching has been lacking to begin with. Mm-hmm. Like the opening day starter, Zach Eflin, I know I ripped that a couple weeks ago. Well, guess where he's back? The injured list, which is where he was most of his Phillies career. Yeah. And then Grayson Rodriguez, where is he at right now? The injured list, which is where he's normally been during his tenure with the Orioles. The fact that they did not put the Brinks truck on Corbin Burns to keep him in Baltimore, huge mistake.
Right. And to me, that is its ownership followed very closely by the general manager. The general manager is in charge of constructing the team, but the owner is in charge of signing the paychecks. And neither of these things are happening. There's too much young talent on that team for them to – now, it's early. It could be much ado about nothing. They could all of a sudden right the ship. They're only 13, 14 games in, right? But, to be 5-8 right now.
It's alarming. It's alarming. And look, again, you just said it. It's way early. We're just a week and a half into the season. However, you don't want to get too cute or too crazy, and I don't mean to jump cross sports, but the Denver Nuggets, with 4 games left in their season, fire Mike Malone, the only coach who's won that team a championship with a week to go before the playoffs. I don't understand. I don't care. One day makes no sense.
It's got to be Joker. Joker had to have said it has to be. And there's just no other reason. What other cause is there?
And you give Joker whatever he wants, right? But you say, hey, can we do this in about 3 weeks when we get eliminated in the first round or second round? You cannot just fire your coach a week before the playoffs. I mean, especially a coach that won you a championship 2 years ago. It just asinine.
Something you never sniffed. Yeah. Never sniffed, right? You weren't these people. You were not this franchise that was this. You've had some players over the years, but nothing
Nothing.
You weren't these guys, right? Like you were overshadowed by the Lakers and the Jazz for a run and all that shit. You just weren't even in the conversation.
Right.
This guy gets it done. Well, we're just about in the playoffs here. What are they, the 4 or the 5 seed or whatever? Yeah, get the fuck out. You're done. What?
Yes.
Makes no sense at all.
It makes none.
None. In any sport on any planet in the history of everything, it makes no sense.
And Daryl Morey will get to keep his job with the Sixers.
Oh, boy.
Probably one of the fact that Diaz tries to sell me on that guy being a Hall of Famer. When he tells
For what?
when you could tell me that Daryl Morey, Draymond Green, and Kyle Lowry are going to be in the NBA Hall of Fame, and Andre Iguodala has a shot at it, that's one of the most piss poor Hall of Fames in the history of Hall of Fames.
Yeah, I what class is that going to be? Remind me not to watch that bullshit. Holy God.
The Dildo Hall of Fame would be more appealing than watching that. Just don't go to the one at Diddy's house because he had like 762 of them there.
All used 762 times.
Oh. Man, the batteries are running low on all of them.
The dude just has a wall of rechargeables. What do you need? Sell? Got it. I mean, look, not to get too far off baseball, and I meant to open it with this, Lou, real quick. Tyreek Hill.
Wow. Yeah.
I think it needs to be addressed. I don't care what the platform of the show is. My personal opinion, you heard it from Chris earlier, I think the guy's a complete scumbag. It's too much domestic violence for me, dude. Like, I have no respect for guys that do that shit.
Agreed. I think it's time for us to cut ties. He, again, supposedly they're trying to spin this as, look, it was just a call over to the house. No report was filed, but you got, his wife's mom is calling in a panic. She's saying she's scared of him. He threw a laptop. He's dangling a baby close to the balcony like Michael Jackson.
23 floors up. 23 floors up.
Yeah,
dude.
Right.
I read that. I'm like,
and again, look, the main thing here is this is okay. Maybe you had a bad night, whatever. That's never acceptable, by the way. But you had one instance. You pay the penance for it, even though guys like a Ray Rice never got a second shot. That's how serious these offenses are. But he's done this before. It's like
how many times is this now?
Yeah, it's like the boy cried wolf. How many times? And he shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt on this one. I don't care if a report was filed or not. He's already had this happen numerous times. He basically, and this is the field stuff, which is not even important at this point, but he quit on the team last year in the last game of the year. He's just been such a distraction, and you're right, he's a piece of shit human being. I want nothing to do with him. I want him off my football team. I'd love to trade him for whatever we get back, and just because the money's so much and we guaranteed it unnecessarily, if we can't orchestrate a trade, post June 1 cuts, dump them, and take a little bit of a lesser salary cap hit, whatever. But there's no way this guy could come back on our roster and salvage, what took place again. And get a captain on his chest and be some kind of leader, which he's not. He's not.
Yeah. I mean, I think this also brings just another, another domestic case. Now, is it 5 or 6 times this has happened? Whatever the hell the number is. I think it also has to call into at least some question what exactly transpired when he got pulled over that day on the way to the game, right? Like, how exactly did that go down? Because initially he's being built up as the victim. Right? Mistaken identity, white cop, black dude, got it, blah, 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 blah. What really transpired? Was he just a fucking asshole?
He was.
That's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, no. And that came out. He's driving his Lamborghini with tinted windows, by the way.
Right.
The cop says, hey, I need your driver's license. I need you to identify yourself. And he puts his window down this amount. They can't see inside. They asked him nicely. He didn't respond. Look, even if the cops are asshole and you're in the wrong, let them do their job. You're not going to win the argument. You're not going to win the argument. So comply. And if they get wrong, it'll come out afterwards. He didn't comply.
Yeah.
So
I never understand the arguing. Well, it's not right. Well, you know what? Prove that later. It's no sense in arguing it right then and there. it's just going to go bad for everyone.
Yeah,
Stupid. Yeah, I think it's wrong, dude.
Terrell Owens said years ago. Now, this was in reference to whether or not Jeff Garcia was a homosexual or not. But he said if it looks like a rat and it smells like a rat, then by golly, it's a rat. And that is exactly what Tyreek Hill is. He is a piece of shit. I mean, the domestic violence that he had with the abuse previously, breaking his son's arm, and now this bullshit. I mean, I don't know how many times like the NFL has suspended people for doing far less in the domestic violence realm. And this guy has gotten away with it time and time again, whether he's done anything or not, or he's been caught or not. The fact that it continues to manifest in his presence and his being, and it's still being discussed and talked about. This guy should be cut. This guy should be blackballed. This guy should never see the NFL field again, because at this point in time, there is not a single franchise that should have the audacity to put up with his bullshit. Because if Kansas City and Andy Reid, if it was too much for them, and now it's too much for a city like Miami and the Dolphins and Stephen Ross.
Andy Reid, dad of the year, and it was too much for him.
Right. Yeah.
Kansas City leads the league in arrests for God knows how long now. Ever since Andy's been there, for sure. A team like Miami is desperate to win, haven't won a postseason in a game in 25, 26 years.
25 years.
You're willing to put up with shit to a certain extent. That's what teams do. When they're desperate, they're willing to do it. They're willing to put up with the crap and live with it and deal with it, however they can. What happened? Did the Phillies wind up going down further?
He just walked a run in, and Lou, is that back to back? No, okay, it's a replay. So solo homer by Wood. So you're down 2.
Yeah.
And, you're
Wood's killing it this year, man.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah, Wood's playing. Wood's playing well. Fuck you, Aaron Nola. But actually, I'm not even going to say that. It's only 2-0. Obviously, if there's a grand slam here and we're down 6-0, but and our offense sucks yet again, which is.
So how long is this window going to be open for, Chris?
With the Phillies?
In that window, yeah.
I mean,
you're in the window. But I feel like it's starting to.
Here's the thing.
A couple of years ago was fun. The kids were young. It was It was all that. And now.
But also the older guys were younger.
Uh-huh.
Like Schwarber has been fantastic, and he's gotten off to a great start. But last year of a contract. JT last year of a contract. Wheeler just started his 3-year extension. He's 34, 35 now. Nola is 32, 33. Yeah. Well, JT's 34. I think Schwarber's 33. Nola's 32. I think now he's in year 2 of a 7-year deal. It really depends on the next wave. I mean, the way our center field position has struggled so far this year with Brandon Marsh, I don't think Marsh has had a hit yet in April. And then, Johan Rojas the other night, who's supposed to be one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. He lets a ball drop right in front of him, which led to a 3-run shot. Yeah, which led to a 3-run shot by what's the
you don't have to say he who will not be mentioned.
Well, it's the catcher that just came back for the Braves. Stephen, trying to remember what the hell his name is. Stephen Murphy. It was his first at bat of the season, and he hits a 3-run shot off Zach Wheeler, and then they go up on us. But maybe the game is different if that play doesn't happen. But Justin Crawford is right around the corner, and then Aiden Miller right around the corner. Alec Boehm's gotten off to a bad start, and I'll tell you what, ever since he started banging Aaron Dolan, his numbers have gone down. And now that it's public, his numbers are going even further down. I wouldn't mind, I'm a married man, happily. Yeah, but at the end of the day, Aaron Dolan is Aaron Dolan. So, I mean, I used to say,
people like, hey, I'm married. I'm not dead.
I mean, I used to say about Justin Verlander when he went into some like lean years when he first started dating, Kate Upton. I'm like, would you rather be an all-time great baseball player? Or would you rather be banging Kate Upton? And I'm like, well, maybe you can have both. And then eventually he found out that you can have both, and he went to the Astros and he won a couple World Series. But nonetheless, how big is the window? I don't know.
Yeah.
The guys are getting older, and the guys that were young a few years ago. Stott's a good ball player, but Stott's not a difference maker. The difference makers are going to be Andrew Painter for the rotation. Number 7 prospect in Major League Baseball. We're not going to see him until July. Justin Crawford is top 60 prospect, and then Aiden Miller is a top 30 or 40 prospect. He's a shortstop, third baseman. So these guys are both in AAA right now, and Painter is going to be working his way back through the ranks. I think he's turning 22, 23 this week. It's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, these kids are going to they're right around the corner. So how they perform when they get here is going to be the dictator of them elevating these older guys to continue to push them, like a Harper and a Turner and a Nola and a Wheeler once these other guys are gone. I think they're going to work out an extension with both JT and Schwarber. Schwarber for sure, but they don't have anybody in the catching ranks that's ready now. They have a kid that's going to be ready in a couple years, Eduardo Taillé.
So they need a couple more out of JT.
They're going to need another year or two out of him until Taillé's ready. And I think
that might be a big ask, dude. He's got a lot of miles on his legs. JT.
He does. He's caught more innings in baseball since the beginning of 2018, 2019 than anybody, and it's not even close. When
you look at a catcher, they think these guys are all trying to get to age 40. Age 40 for a catcher is an aberration, dude. That doesn't exist.
You're lucky if you get 36, 37.
Like yeah. Yep. And by then, the wheels are coming off the bus.
Yeah. Like their offensive numbers are taking a hit. Their pop time, is taking a hit. How they call games is taking a hit
anymore.
Yeah.
No.
You just don't have the legs to continue doing that, man. It just eventually takes its toll on it. It's a brutal position.
Yeah.
It's like the center position in football. That's the comp. The most difficult spot on the fucking field. Centers get the hell beat out of them. Catchers get the hell beat out of them, right? So for baseball, that's the spot.
Yeah. Chris, what about flipping? What about flipping one of your left arms? Luzardo had a good start, and Ranger is going to come back at some point. Once Painter gets that call up in June or July, what about flipping Luzardo or a Ranger Suarez for bat?
I just don't know what they want to do. It's hard to say what direction they're going to go in. I mean, I don't want to say Nola's off to a rough start. He had a rough first start against Washington. He gave up 3 runs against the Dodgers. They lost that game, and now they're down 2-0 in the 6th inning. I mean, so I can't sit here and say that Nola's off to a rough start. I think Nola eventually is going to be putting up Nola numbers, and then Wheeler's going to be just fine. Wheeler's going to be, top 5 for Cy Young, like he always is. I just think the Phillies like their starting pitching depth, and Taijuan Walker through 10 innings so far this year has given up no runs. So, and they're struggling right now in their bullpen. Like the starting pitching has not been the problem for the Phillies, not even close. It's been the reason why they're 8-4. It's been the back end of the bullpen, and it's been an inconsistent, underachieving offense. They've shown up in moments to where they've won games because of it in the later innings when they're beating up on teams' bullpens. But the reason why they're 8-4 is because their starting pitching has held them in these games long enough to where the offense has been able to come to life and become awake. I think
look at tonight. I mean, if Nola comes out and gets through the 6th, that's 6 innings of 2-run baseball. The offense has 2 hits. The offense has 2 hits.
Correct. Yeah.
2 hits. You're playing the freaking Nationals, guys. Like,
Well, we're playing the Cardinals.
I think that's where you had the luxury of, bringing Rojas up to learn the position in center field. You could deal with him not hitting because the rest of these guys in your order were
1-8 would hit.
Slack. And it's not happening. Not consistently, anyways.
Turner's off to a good start. Harper's off to a good start. Schwarber's off to a good start. Even before tonight, Stott. So, your top 4 guys have been hitting. And even Castellanos has had some moments. But the thing is, though, is they haven't strung it together to where they've consistently done it together. There's been certain games where Schwarber's carried it, or Harper's carried it, or Turner's carried it, or Castellanos, like with his grand slam last week against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
There's been moments for each of these guys. It just hasn't like where they've just tore the cover off the ball yet this season. It has not happened consistently enough. If it has, they would have like. I hate sounding like one of those fans, like, oh man, they'd be better than 8-4. Like I guess it's easy to say, but I mean, really, like they're going to put Ranger back into the rotation, and what are they going to do? They're going to put Taijuan in the bullpen. I mean, if anything, the guy that's had the most success pitching out of the bullpen out of anybody in this rotation has been Ranger Suarez. He was a closer for us in 2021. He closed Game 5 of the NLCS against the Padres for us.
Yeah,
I mean, Suarez has the experience and the pulse and the mentality that where if Taijuan continues to pitch well, the problem is say you put Ranger in the bullpen when he first comes back because Taijuan's pitching well, and then Taijuan starts getting shellacked, then at that point now you got to stretch Ranger back out to put him back in the rotation, and then it takes away from your later innings.
I think this goes to Lou's point though. Why not? Do you look to trade to bring in some offense? I get that you like your depth, but
where are you putting them?
Well, it sounds like the outfield could use some help.
It could, but I think the help that's going to come in the outfield is going to be Justin Crawford.
It's going to come from your minor
league. I think Crawford. That's the reason why they signed Max Kepler. That's the reason why they brought back Marsh and they brought back Rojas. I think
until this hold it together until the kid comes up.
But I also think it's a spark. I mean, it's a youth infusion, man. It's like it's kind of like it's a different youth spark. I mean, but you know what it's like, Lou, from having an 18-year-old Miguel Cabrera come into your clubhouse in 2003. And it's just like, oh, here you go. This kid's 21. He doesn't have the pop, obviously, that Miggy had, but the guy can run. And he can put the ball in play, and he's doubles and he's triples and he's stolen bases, and he can play Gold Glove caliber center field somewhere down the line. Not right now, but somewhere down the line as he gets experience in the big leagues. I think that's the injection of talent. I think if Alec Bohm continues to trend the way that he's trending, I think the move is bringing up Aidan Miller and putting him at third base. And there's another youth infusion. I don't know where you're looking to plug guys in because everybody's kind of anchored. You got a big contract on right field. You got a big contract at first base. You got a big contract at shortstop. 1 year, $20 million more of Schwarber at DH. You have a big money catcher. Like, where do you plug in the guy? I mean, Kepler's 1 year.
So what you're saying is you're going to bring up Crawford, who is another prototypical leadoff hitter type, to not bat him leadoff.
The Phillies won't do that to start off. It won't. He'll be batting ninth in our line.
When he comes. I get it, but you understand what I'm saying.
But the Phillies have leadoff hitters. Like they're batting Stott leadoff tonight, which I've been saying. Like the Phillies finally. I know it's 0 runs tonight, 0 runs, but they finally gave me a lineup to where I can sit there and get behind Stott and Turner with their speed at the top of the lineup. Harper and Schwarber 3-4. Rob Thompson, God bless his heart for the last few years, has refused to bat lefty. I'm sorry. The golden age of Phillies baseball, which lasted almost a decade, was Chase Utley and Ryan Howard batting 3-4. You know what they batted? They were both left-handed.
Look, the bottom line is, I get mixing it up and not wanting to string together too many righties together, too many lefties together, whatever the case may be. But when you're talking about your top 4 to 5 hitters, it shouldn't matter. Because those guys are supposed to be able to hit anyone. It shouldn't matter. If they're that talented, like an Utley and Howard, right? Or like what you've got now, it should not, or you get, it shouldn't matter. The Yankees had an embarrassment of riches back in the late 90s. We had switch hitters all over the place. It was disgusting. So it didn't freaking matter. We could do that. Left, right, switch. Well,
it's Teixeira in 09. Teixeira was a switch between what Jeter, like you had Damon, and then you had Jeter.
Damon led off, then Jeter.
And then you went switch with Teixeira, and then you went to A-Rod. Like, what the hell does it matter?
When you throw a switch hitter in there, it changes things up. But when you've got guys that you've paid them or you've invested in whatever, trade, value, contract, whatever the case may be. These are the guys at the top of my order. It shouldn't matter if they're all right-handed or left-handed. They should be able to hit whoever. That's just my opinion.
And
yes,
Harper,
it's a nice thing to do to be able to mix it up, but if you got to put two lefties together, I don't really think that's the end of the freaking world.
Harper batting third is where he belongs. To me, still
Yes,
your best
absolutely.
hitter bats third. And
No
then
question.
and then Schwarber should be your cleanup hitter, protecting Harper and getting him better pitches.
Yes.
It just makes all the sense in the world.
All the sense in the world.
Agreed.
Totally agreed. Which is, Seattle can't do that with J-Rod because they literally have nobody.
They have no one.
Nobody.
They have the dude with the friggin' ass bobblehead, the bobble ass. I mean,
Well, then you get this bobblehead that we got, the J-Rod bat flip one.
I like that.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, of course that was the good giveaway that we had on the Monday night. The first game we were there was the Saturday night, so we were looking real tough walking around the ballpark with our Hello Kitty bucket hats. Those were
I
awesome.
saw you with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I gave mine to my daughter, and then Liam gave his to Grady, so Grady could give it to his girlfriend. But yes, while we were there, we were both kind of, like,
Yeah. So,
Me mugging. You look like Run
trying to
DMC.
look up. Hello Kitty bucket hats.
oh God.
Yeah. Seattle Mariners Hello Kitty bucket hats.
They couldn't
And
give
grown
those out to
men-
just kids.
No, first 10,000 or whatever the hell it was. Grown men all over this ballpark. Because it was a Saturday night and the weather wasn't bad and it was Hello Kitty night. So the place was packed. There was like 35 or 36,000 people there. They ran out at some point.
Wow.
And so here's Liam and I walking around. I had mine over the other hat I was wearing, just being a goofball. Liam had his on, reversed from what I had. Dude, grown men offering my son $20 for the fucking hat. I looked at Liam goes, I'm not going to do it, but if they offer me 50, I'm probably taking the money.
Nice.
Attaboy.
Smart
Yeah,
man.
people go bananas over this Hello Kitty, man. Have you guys gone to it? You guys have those in Philly or in Miami? You have like a Hello Kitty night?
No, we got
People
Scooby Doo weekend this week.
I
Sunday.
would have preferred that. That
Yeah.
would have been cool. But people were going nuts. Like you had people there with like little Hello Kitty stuffed animals, and it was. Granted, it's also Seattle, so
Right.
they're a little weird out there to begin with, dude. Like,
I saw your stories from the light rail. Pretty pretty intriguing.
oh yeah, what's in the bag? Wrong answers only.
It's an adventure
The guy
traveling
with
on
the-
that rail, man. You never know what
Bro.
you're gonna see on that rail.
Nah, we had a dude, a crackhead, fall asleep on the thing. It felt like a little bit like, okay, we're a big city, but it's cleaner and it's an easy way to travel.
Oh,
We
yeah.
stayed near the airport because I don't know the layout of the city or whatever. So I wanted to be closer to the airport for the day that we were leaving. I didn't want there to be any kind of holdup or whatever. But from right there, we walked down to the station, which was a less than 5-minute walk from the hotel.
Very
We just
convenient.
took the rail up into the city. Pike Place Market, the walk down from there. Thankfully, Sunday we had the higher sky, so the mountain was out. God, the views. Look, the people out there are friggin' weird. There's no question about it. But the city itself is beautiful.
Beautiful.
The views are unbelievable. The food is really good. You get eating right there on the shore of the Puget Sound. Yeah, dude, I could have eaten that salmon for a long time.
No doubt. The oysters are great there too. And look, if you're walking, you can get a shot at the Space Needle with Mount Rainier in the far background. It looks fake. It looks like
It does.
You drew it up. It's just picture perfect, and it looks fake. That's how amazing the view is.
It looks like a movie scene. It looks like
Yeah.
a poster. Like the best picture I got was from right over by Pike Place. Pike Place would have been back behind me over here. And I'm kind of out at the top of where that concrete is before you walk down to the boardwalk. And you look out, and the stadiums are about 1.5 to 2 miles away, right? Lumen Field and T-Mobile. Behind it is Mount Rainier, which
Yeah.
is some 90 miles away at that point, and it's still
Right.
just towering over everything.
Monstrous.
I'm like, oh my God. I got my phone out. I'm like, yo. was that morning when we got to the rail. That's the first picture I put up. That I finally got the picture of the mountain. We walk down there. We get up on the platform. I'm faced this way, looking at Liam, and Liam looks at me and goes, "Dad, turn around." I turn around, and it felt like that mountain was right in front of my face. Like, Jesus. So, Chris, what I can tell you is, and Luke can attest this, when you do get that one off your list, make some time. Don't just do it on a quick 36-hour thing to get in and out of there.
Wow.
Take the extra day or two and stick around Seattle for a few
Yeah,
sites. Absolutely worth it. Go in the summertime like he did, though. I took a big risk going in April that I wasn't going to get a view of any mountain at all. And I did end up with the one good day, but it was really lucky. So go in June, July, August, something like that, where you're going to have a better stretch of clear weather. Keep in mind it is Seattle, so
Rain.
the weather, it rains a lot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like the first day we were there, it wasn't actually bad weather, but the clouds that were there were just lower hanging, so you couldn't see the peak of anything. And then the Monday, it was the same way. You couldn't see a shit. Like all of a sudden, the mountain was just gone. It was so odd. But picturesque, beautiful. The one regret I do have, we didn't have enough time to take one of the boat tours out into Puget Sound. And really, honestly, Sunday would have been the only day worth of shit to do that because of the weather and the view. But yeah, if I end up back there, it's going to be in the summertime, and that'd be number one thing on my list.
Yes.
Don't walk down the freaking stairs of the Space Needle just for that goddamn T-shirt. It's not worth it. Just don't.
Were you hurting the rest?
I did it too. You don't have to join the club, bro. If you're going to do it, make that towards the end of your weekend. We did it like the second attraction we saw. My knees felt like they were going to explode the rest of the weekend.
No, I disagree. This is the heart of the order. I got on base. You got on base. Chris, when you go, you're getting on base. You're walking down the Space Needle, brother.
I'm gonna have to do it. There's no doubt about it.
840 steps, brother. Good luck.
And you get a T-shirt. You get a T-shirt, by the way.
You do get a shitty T-shirt out of it. It's true. And it's the same shirt. I'm sure it'll be the same shirt. And what I can tell you is the guy there who's trying to pressure people to do it is basically politely, without actually saying it, calling you a pussy if you don't.
Right. Yeah.
It's his whole existence, right? So he's doing this in front of my kid. I'm like, well, now I got to walk down the stairs.
Yeah. Right.
Give me my T-shirt. Let's go.
840 steps, man. You got to bring a slinky for that.
Yeah. Well, I did like the whole Ghostbusters line. We're walking down. I said, Liam, what floor are we at? And he was like, 53. I said, well, let me know when we get to 45. He said, what? I said, I'm going to throw up. It's not so. It's real. Honestly, it's really not that bad because you're going down. I would never walk up it.
No, God, no.
Outside of your mind.
No.
Not a chance. And the line, Lou, I don't know what you guys faced. The line was pretty long when we got there. It was a Saturday, but it moved. Like the line looked like it was going to be like an hour wait, and we were up in the elevator walking around the outside within 25 minutes, 30 minutes tops.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah. It goes quick.
Not bad at all. Modern Museum of Pop Culture is right next door to it. So when you take the rail into the city, you get off at Westlake Center, walk upstairs to the monorail. 2 stops on the monorail, Westlake Center and Space Needle and Mopop. Get off there. There's like a little mall with a bunch of places to eat, and then the museum and the Space Needle. And that's pretty much, that's almost an entire day right there.
Yeah.
It's those 2 things. It's a lot to take in. That museum is really cool.
You got Climate Pledge Arena where the Kraken play. By the way, the Kraken, awesome logo and name, also, right? So
I was going to go.
Play right down there. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, very cool city.
It is.
I would go back. I would definitely go back. Just the fact that I don't have to live there. It's funny to look at gas prices that are like $4.15 and realize that I don't have to pay for it. But it was a good time. And I will tell you, and I'm sure Luke can back me up on this, when you do go, all 3 of us chase ballparks. it'll have you rethinking your rankings of where exactly that one needs to fall versus wherever else you've been. Now, I know you're a little bit further out in front of us than where Lou or I are at as far as chasing them down, but T-Mobile Park's going to surprise you on where it finishes up. We got to see it open air twice and closed roof once, which was cool.
That's cool.
So we got both experiences. But even when the roof closes, it's still considered an open air stadium because it's not closed off at the sides. It's still the pasture, kind of like a SoFi is built.
I think there's only one left that has a shot of cracking my top 4.
Oh, I don't think this will crack your top 4.
And
I'm
that's
just
San
saying
Fran.
it's kind of that next group down.
My
You know what
5
I mean?
pretty much will be entrenched once I get San Fran in July. Like that, wherever that's going to fall, I don't know if anything's going to pass Wrigley just because I have such an affinity for it, and I've seen like
That's
20
how I
ball games, and I just it's so hard to put anything over that. Like, I mean, that was me and my dad's tradition, 08 to 13, and then we went back in 15, and I'm thinking next year with me turning 40, I want to do that trip with my dad because we haven't been back. We haven't been there since 2015. So I think that's something I want to do with my dad before he gets, a little bit older. So I think I want to take, and he becomes more miserable. so I think I want to take him. I think that's something that, like our boys weekend next year, I think that's what I want to do. But
yeah, for sure, man.
Will it pass San Diego? Will it pass Pittsburgh? Will it pass, Camden Yards? I think it's the only it's the only one left that still has a shot to beat San Diego and Pittsburgh, in my opinion.
What's that? The San Francisco?
San Fran.
Yeah.
Out of all the ones I have left.
Yeah, T-Mobile's not going to crack that echelon. Your San Francisco, your San Diego, all that shit. But when you look at that kind of next group down, kind of like your
Dodger Stadium
area,
Coors, Dodger Stadium, Coors, Target Field, Truist,
America,
Busch,
yeah, kind of in that thing, right in there. Yeah,
yep.
I would agree.
That's kind of where I've got it. Yeah, I think Texas will fall probably right around like fringe top 10 when I get that in August. But like the other ones, like Arizona, Anaheim, Toronto, Houston.
Wait on Toronto. Let Toronto finish all the renovations. Get you some monuments out there.
It's not going to be this year, and I don't think it's going to be next year because I'm already thinking like the Phillies are going to be on the road next year in Anaheim and in Seattle. But I'm kind of thinking next year I'd like to do Anaheim because me and my wife could take the boys and we could go to Disneyland. So I'm kind of thinking I want to do that as our summer trip next year if they fall in the summer. So we could catch a Phillies game while we're there. We could do Disneyland. We can incorporate the kids. So I'm kind of leaning that's going to be what we're going to do.
I mean, even if it's early, like when do your kids get out of school?
Mid-June. Mid-June.
All right, so you got to wait until the actual summer. So you guys are normal. You go back after Labor Day and you're out in mid-June.
Yeah, I mean,
weird here. My kids are going to go back like August 8th.
Yeah, I know I know your kids normally go back because two of your kids go back like their week of their birthday, right?
Liam, so they two of them they get done right around Brooklyn and Grady's birthday.
Okay.
And they go back like right after Liam's birthday. It pisses Liam off because it's his birthday and bam, he's right back to school.
I don't ever want to hear shit. My day is my birthday is the worst day of the year every year. It's when everybody goes back to school or goes back to work after the holidays with Christmas and New Year's. So everybody goes back. Like we get the day off for New Year's on a Tuesday. Well, you go back to school or work on Wednesday. And then the following year, it's on a Wednesday. And now my birthday's on a Thursday. It sucks. It's like it's just universe. They're like, and everyone's so freaking tired from New Year's Eve and the holidays. And it's like
nobody wants to do anything.
I don't even want to do anything. I'm assed out by that point, man. I'm tired. Shit.
Oh, hey, just so you know, the Yankees down 9-1
Oof.
in the 6th inning, and they went to a weather delay. So,
Hey,
Oh,
at least they have one.
yeah,
Phillies
at least
have
they
none.
one. Yeah,
I've given up following the game on my phone. I'm kind of thinking that maybe something good will happen if I stop following it.
Top of the 8th, down 2-0.
And I'm dry on my drink.
Chicago is hammering Boston 10-1 in the 8th inning. That is excellent.
It's a terrible World Series pick. Who the hell would do such a thing? It's only April 11th.
Finished off Atlanta. Yeah, Washington. Yeah, if Lou, you saw.
yeah, they got us.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, Seattle, man. Seattle was a good time. Food. And I'm there with my kids, so I can't really go check out like the local bar scene or beers and shit like that. So it's, it's a different experience for me. It's more about the national landmarks and the sites and all that stuff, so much as the bar scene and all that kind of shit. But I guess Lou, and I don't know how you felt about it. The one area where I was kind of like, boy, they really need to do something about this was right next to T-Mobile Park. There is like nothing there. There's that one spot across the street where one bar is literally 21 and over, or 18 and over, whatever. And the other one is kind of like a B-dubs type of place. You just go in, it's like pregame wings, and then in you go. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot right there in like the battery. They don't have like a battery area around the ballpark.
Well, so right across from T-Mobile, you got Hatbacks, which is a play on Ken Griffey Jr.'s Hatback word. So that's an awesome bar. And then the real big area there is between Lumen Field and T-Mobile. There is an
one walkway there. Yeah,
correct. There's a bunch of bars around there. Some good baseball bars. But you're right. It's not like Xfinity Live over in Philly
which sucks, by the way.
Come on,
dude. I live here.
Okay, but I mean,
I know it's not some Cuban neighborhood where they just throw an arena up in the middle of it and you pay $20 to park on someone's front lawn. I understand.
Yeah.
Dude, Xfinity Live is so overrated.
I can attest. I can back him up on this. So it ends up being like your amateur night every night, right? It's all 21 to 25. They're hammered. It's obnoxious. You're packed in like sardines, dude.
Right.
Which is, and it gets a little unpleasant, especially when you're around the drunken young guys like that who all have liquid courage.
They opened that up opening day, Phillies season 2012. The bathroom stalls are the same bathroom stalls as they were 13 years ago. I've been with my wife for 13 years. Trust me. I like Xfinity Live. I like going down there for when we do our shows and we're at 1100 Social and for Birds games and we're smoking cigars. I'm hanging out with Tree and it's a great time.
That's a different experience,
right? It's fun, but if you're looking to just go down there and watch a game when they're home or whatnot. I went there after a Flyers game. I went there before the Flyers game and there was barely anybody there. And then I went there after a Flyers game and then there was nobody in there.
Wow.
And you go into PBR and they had the Buckle Bunnies, which is normally girls with great asses and big racks. And they surround the Mechanical Bull. We got in there, it's 9:30 at night. And they're oh yeah, they're not out yet. And then when we went in there, when they were out, it was one girl was decent and the other two were no. Mm-mm.
So it's kind of like what Hooters is turned into?
Hooters or
Twin Peaks is really where it's at now, dude.
Yeah. Is Hooters closing finally?
They're about to be done. Yeah, they're going out.
I can't believe that. I can't believe Hooters isn't about owls. I can't believe that. I just found that out as they're getting ready to close. I thought it was all about the preservation of owls.
Yeah.
It's not?
It is not. No.
Okay. All right. Good.
I would have thought Sydney Sweeney doing her skit on Saturday Night Live would have salvaged the business, Right. But I guess because she's you don't have her waiting tables at every location, and there's 10 of her. It's not going to save them. So.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Twin Peaks, the menu's better and the outfits are better.
Food's better too. I mean,
the food is way better.
Yeah.
Way better. All right. My wife is in the other room. I better watch it. It's bad enough when I got to read the cheerleader sponsorship.
I love it,
proudly
man.
do. I proudly do at the opening of every Unhappy Gilmore show, and I preface it with that it's my wife's favorite part of the show. She loves that.
Love it.
Yeah, when I was doing that on baseball brunch, my mom would be like, my mom and dad would be listening to the show. My dad would be like getting ready; they'd be going out someplace on a Sunday morning, and then like he would be listening to the show, and I'd be like, "Oh, and this segment was brought to you by cheerleaders," and I would go through the whole spiel. And my mom's like, "Oh my god, not again!" Hey man, whatever pays the bills, I don't give a shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Ain't gonna get me to argue about it. All right. You guys got anything else? You want to get the final thoughts here? We've been on for almost 2 hours.
I'm ready to get another drink.
You ready to get another drink?
Yeah, that was good, man. That Rondell Barrelito, 3 stars.
There you go.
I bought that bottle at the airport, shoved it in my bag, good to go. So
Nice.
yeah, it's ice. That's what it is. It's
Chris
ice.
is ready for another drink. I'm the lame guy of the group here. I'm watching my girlish figure. We have a Biggest Loser challenge with some of the folks in my Midwest Eagles Nest group here. So
Awesome.
it may not sound like a whole lot to a bunch of other people, but when I get on a scale and it says 232 pounds, that's heavy for me. I'm better off around 190. If I can get down to 200, we're good right there. So I've got some work to do. That's 219 this morning. All right, we're heading in the right direction.
Awesome. Good.
But mostly, the drinking put down for now because I can't not smoke if I drink, and I proved that when I went to Nashville last month because it's like the minute I crack the beer, I'm like, just give me a fucking cigarette. It's just gonna go down anyway. Come on. But Chris, go ahead, give us your final thoughts, brother. What you got? You got for the weekend series ahead here to bounce back from well, you're still playing, but
the Phillies offense sucks.
this offense sucks.
Lou.
Sandy's back on the mound tomorrow, so hopefully we can get back to 500. As long as we are in the 500 conversation, I'll be happy this whole entire baseball season.
God, it must be so nice to be so optimistic. I wish I envy.
I was trying to find out where my optimism was in my statement, but we're just talking about Lou.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to join Chris here, and we're getting shellacked tonight. That's not going to change even once the rain stops. And the weekend doesn't look a whole lot better. San Francisco is going to throw Jordan Hicks in his 2.38 ERA and Logan Webb in his 1.89 ERA on Saturday and Sunday, respectively. We'll roll out Will Warren tomorrow with his 6 flat ERA and Carlos Rodon at a robust 5.19 on Sunday. The top of the rotation guy, Carlos Rodon. So I don't think our prospects for the weekend are going to get a whole lot better. I think we continue to be the team that just beats up on bad teams and gets kicked around by good teams. Play bully ball for as much as possible and hope it gets you to 90 wins. That looks like the Yankees' future to me. And that's all I got.
Sounds like a plan, man. Well, Lou, go get another glass of wine.
I will.
Adam,
Chris, you enjoy your Puerto Rican rum there. Looks like you're having a good time. I hope little man starts to feel better.
I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah. And
always tough times when the little ones aren't feeling good.
Take that medication. Hopefully, we're supposed to get rain all night, so I doubt Carson's game got pushed back from 10 to noon. The Fighting Maple Shade Mariners are off to a 2-0 start this season. I
wish I knew that it was the Mariners. I would have grabbed some shit from.
Oh, dude, I bought because they gave out the hats to all of us, and I'm one of the assistant coaches, and the hats are the same hats the kids got. And dude, I got a big freaking dome. I got a 7 5/8 hat that I wear. Like,
I feel your pain, brother.
dude, it was completely awful. So I immediately went and I bought like a $45 throwback Mariners hat, and
Nice.
it came in right before our first game last Saturday, which we
Nice.
beat the Angels 8-3, and then we beat the Phillies last night 5-0. It's a common thread. We're the Phillies; they scored nothing. So
So you guys are off to Mexico. Is it next weekend or?
we fly out Monday the 21st, which is the day after Rachel's birthday, and then we fly
Nice.
home Saturday the 26th, which is the day after Jacob's birthday. So
All right, there you go.
I already
Lou,
told my
you've
wife.
Yeah.
No, I already
Yeah.
told my wife that for her birthday, I'm treating her to a spa treatment while we're there, so she can go and get her whatever she wants done. It's on me, and I will take the kids to the pool and go relax over and have some drinks with them while she gets pampered. Since I got my massage, my 50-minute full body massage on Wednesday. Woohoo!
Love it. Nice.
Good man. Good show. And
Dude,
Lou, you've got visitors in town this weekend?
That's right. The wife's brother's coming in, so my brother-in-law will be here with his girlfriend. So we are
Very cool.
hosting this week. They're going to actually go to the Marlins Nationals game on Sunday, but we're going to be going to the Heat game, last game of the year for the Heat, all than likely, because they're not going to probably make the playoffs, the real playoffs. So we chose to spend our Sunday at the last Heat game this year, but. And looking forward to June 1st. We'll be up to see the Marlins play at Tampa Bay at George Steinbrenner Field. So
Nice.
that'll be fun. Yeah, nice intimate ballpark. So looking forward to that.
Very cool. Why don't you do us a favor? Go ahead and plug you guys. Give us a rundown of the podcast again, will you? 305.
Yeah, so we do the SoFlo Sports Show. We had a show last night, obviously dissecting this Tyreek Hill just debacle, which we kind of touched on here tonight as well. So yeah, that's SoFlo Sports Show. You can catch it on YouTube, and mostly focused on South Florida sports, but we touch on all sports. We also touched upon, we did in the show as well with Mike Malone getting canned by the Nuggets, Luka's return to the Dallas area. That was crazy. We love hitting all sports. Myself and my wife have a good time doing it.
Yeah, it's a good watch too. You guys are a lot of fun. As far as us here, I have got Tuesday going to a VIP event for the first Wawa that's going to open in this area.
Whoa.
So the Tuesday event is like just a select group of folks from around the local area. The guy who's the regional manager for Wawa in this area is part of my Birds group that we with the back porch and everything. So I've been in his ear constantly. He's been throwing me all kinds of stuff. And then Wednesday is actually the grand opening when I've got probably 40 or so that I know of from my group. And we're all just going to go bombard this Wawa when it opens up. Everybody, you got a lot of transplants out here, so everybody's pretty stoked. It's a pretty good time. We're all going to show up in Birds jerseys and shit. And, what should we wear? Should we wear our Midwest Eagles Nets shirts? I'm like, guys, wear whatever you want. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to know who the hell we are when you show up. Trust me.
They sell a lot of variety packs of cigarettes while you're there, just in case.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I'm gonna tailgate with coffee. Grady's prom is tomorrow, so it's a big day for him. He actually did just get his MOS from the United States Army, so he will leave us September 2nd for basic training at Fort Jackson and or Fort Bragg, which are South Carolina and North Carolina respectively. Then he'll come home for about a week, and then he'll go to his job training, which will be at Fort Benning in Georgia. But he's also considered airborne for his position. So part of his training and his assignment is going to take place in Germany.
Wow.
Right out of the gates. So he's going to get to go see some pretty cool shit pretty early on.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Is he gonna chuck up the Elon?
That's right. He's pretty excited. We're pretty excited for him, although nerve wracking. But he's pretty pumped up for it. So that's the update here. But the fact that we have him through the rest of the summer, which I didn't think was going to happen, now has me scrambling to try to figure out if I can get to another ballpark. And I'm not sure if I can pull it off. If I can't, the backup plan is we're going to do a little minor league barnstorming in Ohio and then maybe all the way down to Bama to see the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
I was gonna say, I mean, San Fran in July sounds good, and Texas in August sounds like a good time too.
Texas, I promised, has to be a family thing.
You got to do the 2-step.
We're doing both, and I want to get them to the 6th floor museum with the Kennedy stuff. If we're going to be in Houston for at least a day or two, I want to get them over to NASA, and as a family thing. That Texas needs to be that. San Fran, they can go see San Fran when they're older. I don't give a shit. I just need to go to see the ballpark and Alcatraz. That's pretty much it for me.
I got to take my wife to Napa. So. But yeah, Alcatraz, we're flying in and we're going to the hotel, dropping off our shit, and then we're going right out to Alcatraz.
Yeah, that would be my intent as well. So that's what's going on here, folks.
Let's do it again in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Schedule-wise, so next week I'll do the Unhappy Gilmore show. Now the week after is draft week.
Yeah.
I am going to do the Unhappy Gilmore show that Friday night, rounds 2 and 3 of the draft from the Back Porch Saloon, live with my group there.
Great.
We can do this earlier in the week, too.
I'm in Mexico.
You're in Mexico the week of the draft?
Let's do it when I get back. Get back.
So we'll just maybe it's 3 weeks out before we do.
We could do it. We could do it earlier that week, or if we could do it the following Friday or whatever. The week after the draft. I'm cool with that. So
yeah, good shit. But yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna give everybody in my group that shows up a chance to hop in the passenger seat there and give the Green Legion audience their opinions on the off season so far and the Wizard of Howie.
Good stuff.
Embarrassment of riches having that manager as your general manager. All right, guys. Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll.
All right. Thank you, fellas, for joining us. For Chris, Zach, Lou Dominguez, I am Unhappy Gilmore, and this has been the Heart of the Order podcast. We'll try to put some more structure on it as we continue to go forward. Guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember that judge ain't back in until Monday. And thanks for joining us around the diamond, kids. Have a good night.
See you, fellas.
Take care.